Hello, hello, hello. What is up? How are you doing? It's a beautiful day here in Missoula, Montana. First really nice day in a really long time for like 7 months maybe since it's been this warm. So I am happy. I hope you are having a beautiful Tuesday. My name's Alexis Olson, coming to you live from Missoula, Montana. And I'm a certified personal trainer, certified nutrition specialist, full-time entrepreneur. So I help people lose weight with more ease and using some spiritual practices as well. So today we're going to talk about that, and I'm really excited about this live because this is inspired from a one-on-one that I had with a client today, and I wanted to just share with you some of the things that came up and some of like the breakthroughs that were had. So if you are on here live, please let me know that you're watching. Go ahead and drop a #1 below if you're on here live. And if you're watching the replay, please comment below #replay. So getting right into it, I want to preface this by saying, when I say like the caption of this live today, what I'm going to be training on is the energy of easy weight loss. And so when I say that, I absolutely do not mean like, when I say easy weight loss, I don't mean like some kind of crazy restricting diet and we're like pooping our pants and so we lose 10 pounds in like 3 days. Like, that is not what I'm talking about when I say easy at all. What I'm more talking about is something that still might take a little bit of time, but something where it's just like there's no mental exhaustion. You're like feeling the feelings of like what it's going to feel like to reach your goal as if you already have those feelings, and you're just really, really confident in the direction that you're going. And you also know that you can't F it up. Like, you know that no matter what regimen or what thing you follow, or if you follow a thing at all, that you're just going to get what you want, right? That you're just going to like get to a healthy weight, and it's just going to be way easier than anything that you've ever done before. So that's the kind of energy that we're talking about here today. What's up, Kelsey? So what we will not be talking about today is I will not be talking about any of the practical stuff. So this is going to be 100% mindset. So I'm not going to give you like any tips on what to eat or like what workouts you should be doing, because there's so much of that. And if knowledge was our problem on what to do to get results, then people wouldn't like come to me for help, right? So this is what I help people do, is tap into the real reasons why they aren't losing weight or aren't where they at. So let's get into it. If you're excited, please drop a 3 in the comments below. Hey, beautiful. So glad that you're on here. Excited to spend this time with you, Kelsey. So here's one thing that I knew for sure. And what's really cool is, even if you aren't on a weight loss journey, if you're on a journey of like getting into a better relationship with your money, maybe you're working on healing codependency, maybe, you want better relationships, better friendships, like whatever facet of your life that you see maybe could be improved, everything that I'm going to talk about today can be directly applied to that. Like, you just might need to change the language a little bit, or like the things you ask yourself. But all of the things that we teach today is going to be mind-blowing, like life forever change type of techniques. So the first thing that I want to lay the groundwork for is we have to come to understand this concept. And so the concept is that we know, and if you don't, I'm about to tell you, but we know that our current reality, like everything in our life right now that we have, is simply because of thoughts that we have thought, or beliefs that we have believed, or decisions as a result of those things. Those two things, our thoughts and our beliefs, and our decisions that we have made, right? So like, I'm in the relationship that I'm in right now because of thoughts that I've thought about like my worth, I've thought about like what I'm looking for in a partner. My bank account has the amount of money that it has into it, or that it has in it. My investments, I have the amount of investments that I have right now because of beliefs that I've had in the past, right? Like, nothing about right now necessarily. So again, I'll say that again. Your current reality, your present reality, is literally just based on things in the past, like things you've already thought, things you've already done, beliefs you've already had. So I tell you that because If you are coming from a place of you have goals, but you stay so focused on what is, and like where you currently are at, which is a good place to assess if you've been in denial or you've been in avoidance. So we're not asking to do that. But if you're currently only looking at what is current right now, like your current weight, your current habits with food, your current regimen, what hasn't been working, the current amount of money in your bank account, if you stay too focused on that, you'll literally just keep repeating the same present again and again. Like your reality won't change. So to change our reality, we have to come to believe. And so coming to believe, what that means is that we have to pick new thoughts. We have to pick new beliefs before the manifestation gets here, or before the money shows up, or before the perfect soulmate partner shows up, or before our dream body shows up. And so I did this. Like, this is just not this is like tested and true. And I'm so freaking passionate about this type of work because I am someone for the last 10 years has been on a weight loss journey. I've never been able to do it easy. I've never been able to do it without gaining weight back. And I've never been able to do it in a healthy way until the last 3 years. So what changed in the last 3 years? Well, I'm telling you all of it right now. I'm telling you everything that I did at the beginning of this journey when I decided to do things so differently, so radically, like a totally different approach. And this is what I did. So I knew that I needed to come to believe new thoughts. And so coming to believe new thoughts is a couple of things, right? So first, it's also knowing that a lot of times we have goals of, when it comes to fat loss, of wanting to get back to a body that we once had. Whether it was like what we weighed as a teenager or what we looked like 10 years ago because we liked that size we were at. Or maybe you even try to recreate something that worked for you in the past. Like maybe you did an intense at-home workout program, so you keep trying to do that again because it got you results before, but it's not working. And so what I want you to play with is this concept of what you're actually after, this new thing, right? This new body is actually something that you've never had before, not in the way that you actually want to have it, right? And so just because it worked for you in the past doesn't mean it's right for you right now. And most likely, without doing this inner work, most likely it will result in a reality where you're still not satisfied, where you could still never, you still want to lose more weight, or you still think you're still not good enough. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, Bree, thanks for being on here. So we want to avoid that, right? Because what's the point of doing all this inner work if we get the dream body and we're still not satisfied? Because I learned a long time ago that weight loss was not a golden ticket to happiness or fulfillment. Like 100%, it's not. And so that's the first half of it, or the first piece of it, right? So the next step, the next piece of it is we have to decide what it is that we actually want and start to understand desire. So understanding desire and where it comes from is really important. And it's really important because one, if you want to sustain your weight loss results, and two, if you want to actually be satisfied and celebratory and love your body, we need to know where the desire comes from. And so desire, the only reason we have desire, so the only reason I ever wanted to lose weight wasn't because that wasn't all I wanted, right? So there's always something attached. There's always a feeling attached to what we want. So we think that we will feel a certain way once we get there. And as human beings, everything we do is attached from this, right? The only reason we ever want more money, we say it's so, that we can do X, Y, and Z, but it's so that it's always attached to a feeling, right? We think we'll feel more worthy when we have it, or we think we'll be less stressed when we have it. All of these things are very real, right? So the secret is law of attraction says that like attracts like. So if we are under this assumption that once we have our dream body, that we're going to be less stressed, that we're going to be happier, that we're going to be more confident, what that is actually activating is the lack of confidence, is the lack of stress of, less anxiety. It's actually activating more anxiety, more stress, more lack of confidence, more insecurity. So we only want something because of a feeling, right? And so we wouldn't know that we wanted this thing if we hadn't already experienced feelings of that at some point, or at least observed it in someone else's experience, right? So if you never have experienced confidence, which I'm sure you have at some point and at some level, you at least know someone who is really confident, right? And that's alluring, right? In a positive way. It's like they have something that you want. So if you didn't know anyone, or you hadn't ever experienced confidence, then you would never even know to want it. Does that make sense? So in knowing this, in knowing where it comes from, what we have to do to call it in and to be a match for the dream body that we want is we have to start feeling those feelings now. So what came up today with one of my clients is they were like, well, I just don't believe that I can do the things I think I need to do, or I know I need to do to get the results. One, because I've never had to work for it in the past, or two, because all the things I've tried in the past have failed, and I just don't believe it's actually possible. Like, it's hard to get my energy behind what you're talking about, Alexis. Like, this whole concept of having a dream body or making fat loss easy, like, it's hard for me to come to believe that. And so what I want to teach you today, and what I want to invite you to adopt in your mentality, is these facts right here. So the facts is that our brain doesn't know the difference between a truth and a lie. So in a very positive way, I'm actually telling you to start lying to yourself. And I'm going to tell you how to do that, and exactly how to do it, how it's going to benefit you, as well as what it's going to activate within you. So again, the brain doesn't know the difference between a truth and a lie. So the reason that we do this is because we need to bring the future into the present to actually start changing our reality. And so what we want to get really clear on is, one, what we actually want, because it's not just a dream body, right? So like, what we actually want is to like feel sexy in clothes. And like, for me, I was like, I want to be able to wear clothes that I want to be able to get into fashion, and I felt like I couldn't. I also wanted to feel light. Like, I felt so heavy all the time, not just like literally. I mean, I was heavier, but I just felt heavy, right? So I didn't feel light on my feet. I had a fear of being seen, which is why I wasn't allowing myself to lose weight, but that's another part. And I didn't feel present. So what I wanted was to feel present, to feel light, to feel confident in anything that I wore, as well as like if anyone snapped my picture, I wanted to feel like it wasn't taking up all this space in my brain, right? Like all this obsession on like, food, or like what I'm going to eat, or if I need to like just diet culture bullshit. Like, I need to do this workout because I overate last night or whatever. And so I just decided that I was going to start pretending and lying to myself like I already felt those feelings. And you can do this because you already know what it feels like. And if you don't know what it feels like to be confident, light, sexy, naked, you know someone who does. And so just because you know someone who does, that's enough. So there's a couple of different ways that you can start lying to your brain and start integrating this in the present and in the now, and everything will start to change without you having to have an exact strategy, without you having to be perfect all the time or guilt and shame your way to results, because that's not going to work either. That's the really long about way to get to happiness. So there's a couple of ways. So one way that you can do it, like one of my favorite ways, and know that everyone has a way that works best for them. And it's all about repetition. So repetition is the mother of all skill. So to start lying to yourself and convincing yourself that this is actually your current reality, and actually how basically what we're doing is we're practicing feelings of what we think we're going to feel when we have our dream body. So one of my favorite ways to do this is with journaling and repetition journaling. So what I started doing 3 years ago was writing down all of these rules for myself, all of these paradigms that got to be true, not only for my weight loss journey, but also for like the end result, like the body that I have today. And so these are a few things that I wrote down that I would journal about literally every day. And so what I would say is things like, I love how light I feel. I love my new wardrobe. I love I can pull anything out of the closet and it looks bomb on me. I love how confident I feel naked. I love how I can just be me and not think about my weight or how I look or like be in my head or be like consumed with ego, that I can like flourish as a human being and be a full expression of my soul and not just be so caught up in like what I look like or how much I weigh, right? And so I also would journal things like how it got to be. So I mentioned that I designed rules for how the journey got to feel. And so some of those rules for me was, I am one of those women that can eat whatever they want and still stay lean. Now, that might sound kind of crazy, but when you believe that, when you start to do that repetition and you write that down every day, it changes you. It shifts things in you, and you start to actually embody that and believe that. And, you know, plot twist, you end up wanting to eat better things, but, you know, having this belief really takes away like the guilt and the shame away from like a lot of the like old programming or old ways you used to think. So whatever, you get to make up your own rules. Thank you so much, Anne. I really appreciate it. So you get to make up your own rules. And so that was one of mine. And I also wrote things like, it doesn't matter, like I can't F it up. It doesn't matter if I'm tracking, if I'm following a program, or if I'm just living my best life and just like power walking or like mall walking or like, you know, those are things I actually enjoy. Like it doesn't matter what I'm doing. It doesn't matter about the how. Like I'm always at my ideal weight. I'm always focused on bigger and better things in my life in terms of like, I have all of this new energy and all of this new space in my life to pour into, because I'm not stuck in my head. I'm not stuck worrying about my body, and it feels so good. And I literally would just journal about that and just riff on that, which basically just means brain dump on how it got to feel, what I feel like now. And for some people, it really helps. Like I had my client do this today. I had her, because her big thing is like feeling confident in a bikini at the beach. And so I was like, okay, design your perfect beach day. Like, how do you feel? Like, forget the old swimsuit that you used to look bomb in. Like, you have a totally different body. It's even better than before because upgrades only. And the body is better before because you actually feel good enough for once. Because a lot of times it's like we look back on times we were thinner or had the body that we wanted, and in reality, it still wasn't enough. So like, this new paradigm, this new thing that we're calling in, that we're embodying is like, yeah, of course it's better than before because I'm freaking satisfied and I'm present and I'm like drinking mocktails with my girlfriends, and I'm like tanning, and I'm like, because I feel so bomb, I'm like frolicking in the ocean, and like just designing your perfect day at the beach or wherever. You know, maybe it's your perfect experience in the dressing room, because the dressing room is like for a lot of women like just not fun, right? So maybe like journaling out and riffing on your perfect experience in the dressing room, right? You've like budgeted like $300 or $3,000, whatever. Like, we're using our imagination here. There's no rules, there's no limits. So it's like I've budgeted $3,000 for a completely new wardrobe for my dream body, and like it doesn't matter what dressing room I go into, the lighting is amazing, I feel so good, and I feel so at peace, right? So repetition is the mother of all skill. Our brain believes whatever we tell it. So some other ways that you can do this aside from journaling, if that's not your thing, is just closing your eyes and visualizing this perfect day at the beach or the perfect day in the dressing room. A lot of times for people, movement works as a really good way to like visualize, but in a different way, because energy is moving through your body. So I like to use like a mixture of all modalities, especially in the beginning, because I had no idea what worked for me. So like while I was working out at home, because I was too embarrassed to go to the gym, I would be working out at home and I would be alone, and I would just start like talking out loud to myself. And I'd ask myself questions. I'd be like, what are you holding on to, Alexis? Like, what is it? Like, what are you holding on to? Because I couldn't lose weight. So I like attributed that to something spiritually or emotionally I was hanging on to. And what came up, eventually I asked myself that same question enough times when I was working out, and eventually it came out that I was afraid to be seen. Like, I was afraid for people to notice me. I was afraid of attention on me. And so I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. So then I started playing with that in the journaling, and I was like, it feels so good to be seen. It feels so good to be truly me. It feels so good for people to meet like who I really am. And I love that I feel good about that and that I'm not scared about it anymore. So hopefully you're starting to get the idea of like the energy of ease when it comes to anything that you want, and how it's very different from what society teaches us. There's no guilt, shame. There's no like this whole philosophy of like no pain, no gain. It's like, no, if you don't actually believe on a subconscious level that you can have what you want and it's going to be better than anything you've ever experienced, you're going to fuck it up every time. Like, you're going to self-sabotage in such subtle ways that it does not matter what diet you follow, who you hire, how many times you work out. Like, it's just, you're not going to let yourself have it. And so we have to uncover why we don't actually want it, because the universe never ever interferes with free will. The universe, we were created to be able to make choices and make decisions. And so free will says that we get what we ask for. And if you're not getting what you're asked for, it's because on some deep soul level or subconscious level within your brain, you don't actually want it, because you think the way you have to do it isn't sustainable for you, which it probably isn't, because you have to redesign it. You have to make it fun. You have to make it light. You have to make it easy, because if it's too hard, that's why all of these like, you know, billion-dollar diet companies are in business, is because they're profiting off of you failing. And so like not enough people are teaching this stuff. And so I've completely changed my relationship with money, my relationship with my body, and my relationship with love and receiving love. And love amplifies it all, baby. But that's a different story. So I just wanted to riff on this this evening, and I hope you got some value from it. Be sure to implement and start journaling, and make sure to dream really big and create new realities, new paradigms, and start convincing yourself that you already feel right now, because you can practice your feelings, how you think you'll feel when you get your dream body. Okay, so that is your only job, is to practice the feelings of feeling amazing and of feeling confident and of feeling lean before the scale ever changes, before the clothes ever fit better. Practice that right now. That's your secret sauce. Because if you can't figure out how to find ecstasy in this moment, I promise you, no amount of money, no amount of weight loss, no amount of beautiful, defined, chiseled abs will give you that ecstasy that you're looking for. So, I love you, and reach out if you need help. I'll see you soon.